A Tempe, Arizona mother, Inoue, was sentenced to 2 consecutive natural life sentences without the possibility of release after being convicted of murdering her 2 young children. The case stemmed from a tragic incident on May 15, 2021, following a domestic dispute with her then-husband over financial problems and plans to move to Japan. Prosecutors said Inoue used a meat cleaver to kill her 9-year-old daughter, Mia, and her 7-year-old son, Kai, while they slept in their apartment.
Hearing voices telling her to kill her own children, later told police that she woke up covered in blood with no recollection of what happened. But evidence paints a gruesome picture of how she killed her own children.
It was something very traumatic for our officers to walk into.
Tempe police say sometime between 12:30 and 4:30 a.m., 40-year-old Inoue attacked her children, 9-year-old Mia and 7-year-old Kai, with a meat cleaver. Inoue says she woke up at 4:30 to see her children dead in the bedroom doorway with no recollection of it happening. Covered in blood, she took a bath and then alerted police. Mia and Kai were students here at Kyrene del Cielo Elementary School. Kyrene Superintendent Laura Tenyes saying to ABC 15, "Moments like this remind us that life is precious and too often fleeting. Please hold your children and loved ones close." The scene so gruesome that Tempe police called in a peer support team immediately for officers who responded.
This is one that doesn't go away. It's not like, hey, I'm just on to the next call or anything like that. This is something that's going to stay with these officers for the rest of their lives.
This week, ABC 15 shared the story of Under the Shield, a local nonprofit available for police officers to help manage the stress and traumatic scenes they see every day.
To have them come in and learn how to talk to their families about this job, because they're so busy protecting their families, they don't want to empty the garbage on them. And in doing that, they're actually isolating them.
The reality of our job, and we all knew what we signed up for, but this just brings it to another level.
Police say Inoue and her husband were recently divorced, and police were called to the apartment that night for an argument over money because Inoue was moving to Japan with the kids and wanted more money, even threatening to stab their father. The parents were separated after that incident, and Dad slept in his car overnight. Inoue has been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder.
Inoue's defense attorney said the defendant had mental health issues and that she was involuntarily evaluated twice in the months leading up to her children's deaths.
She had told Officer Couch that voices told her to kill her kids or hurt her kids.
Through a Japanese translator, Inoue denied her kids were dead.
Inoue did things that should be unspeakable. She did things and committed violence that is so extensive that we would not even think of putting it in an R-rated horror film. Mia and Kai Inoue were sleeping soundly in their beds when their own mother came into their bedroom holding a knife, a meat cleaver that is literally designed to cut the bones of animals. And she attacked them with it.
Motivated by anger and a desire to destroy her husband, took everything from him.
According to prosecutors, Inoue and her husband were going through a divorce and had agreed she would go back to Japan while their 2 kids stayed with their father here in the U.S.
On May 14th, however, all of that changed.
Police responded to the couple's apartment for a domestic argument. Inoue's husband had called 911.
My ex-wife. Okay. And he was threatening me, holding a kitchen knife.
These photos taken at the scene show shattered computer screens and the knife Inoue had allegedly threatened to stab her husband with during an argument over money.
The young victims were 7 and 9 years old, and both went to Kyrene del Cielo Elementary School in Tempe. Counselors were on hand today to help students and staff cope with what happened.
You don't expect to have that conversation with your kid.
Right.
Parent Amanda Woodland said it was hard to explain the murder of 2 classmates to her 4th grade son.
It was difficult because you don't want to go into specifics because he's young and you kind of, as a parent, want to shield him from the reality that something like that could happen to innocent children.
According to court records, Mom was in the process of getting a divorce with the children's father, who reportedly left the family's apartment a few hours before the kids were killed after getting into a fight with his wife. Dad said his kids were asleep and didn't feel they were in any danger. Mom, through the help of a Japanese interpreter, insisted in court that she is innocent.
I did not kill anybody.
Through a Japanese translator, a prosecutor explains Inoue has ties to China and Japan. As for her history in Arizona, Chandler police say Yui Inoue was connected to an incident back in March in which charges for aggravated assault on an officer were submitted to the county attorney's office. The case is still open, so they couldn't provide more details. 2 days after that incident, a court docket shows someone by the same name had a court-ordered mental health evaluation. Court records also show Inoue is accused of stabbing her son with scissors in the past, although a police report was never filed.
These children were helpless, Your Honor, and did everything they could to fight their mother.
Yui Inoue is being held here at the Lower Buckeye Jail on a $2 million bond.
The room, so I would not like to be present.
Yui Inoue, through a Japanese interpreter, told the judge she did not want to take part in her trial. The judge then told the jury not to consider that decision during their deliberations, and opening statements continued without a defendant present.
There's always two sides to a story. We see it every day in life.
The defense asked the jury to focus on the evidence.
The only evidence comes from right there on the witness stand, because you are the ones that are going to determine what happened on May 15th of 2021.
The prosecution had a much different approach, constructing the story of what they believe that evidence tells.
The defendant, Yui Inoue, motivated by anger and a desire to destroy her husband, took everything from him.
According to prosecutors, Inoue and her husband were going through a divorce and had agreed she would go back to Japan while their two kids stayed with their father here in the U.S.
On May 14th, however, all of that changed.
Police responded to the couple's apartment for a domestic argument. Inoue's husband had called 911.
Is my ex-wife. Okay. And she was threatening me, holding a kitchen knife.
These photos taken at the scene show shattered computer screens and the knife Inoue had allegedly threatened to stab her husband with.
Guilty on all counts.